What did you make of Packers OC Adam Stenavich acknowledging the Ben Johnson comments about beating Matt LaFleur twice? Struck a nerve.
Head coaches in this league, they generally don't say inflammatory things about each other. So I was wondering what you thought as a staff member when Ben Johnson said what he said at the press conference, and if you thought that was any kind of shot at the whole staff.
Yeah, you take it personal, for sure. I'll just leave it at that.
Did Ben Johnson motivate the Packers? Will it matter?
Yeah, he motivated the Packers. He motivated the Packers at the news conference, which we've seen from the Packers since. We've heard it from the head coach who, rattled off everyone doing a good job and avoided talking about Ben Johnson. Yeah, this is exactly right. That that piece of audio kind of reminded me of almost like a Declan Doyle type of audio where he's telling you how everyone really feels, but he's not quoting the coach directly. I'm sure that he was miffed about it when it happened. I think he understood that there is a certain amount of pandering to the fan base that you got to do when you get a new job. He probably accepted it that way. Meanwhile, the Bears are ahead of them now as the number one seed in the NFC, so that riles you up. We heard Jordan Love say yesterday that he was well aware of it. Didn't give any comment about what he thought of it, but he was well aware of it. I'm sure that they've talked about it and that this is, win one for the flower type of game. And we'll get into the Micah Parsons thing, but he had this bizarre reaction to the Bears being the number one seed and coming up there trying to beat Green Bay. How dare they? Apparently unaware that the schedule masters tell you when to play and where to go. But it was, I think there's definitely, when you mention somebody and you say you're coming after them, they're aware of what you said and they're going to be trying to prepare for it and ready for it. And it would be naive to think they don't know and they haven't told everybody exactly what was said, and it isn't sort of the kind of locker room material that teams like to use to get after people.
Just for a little background, Stenavich is a 3-year starter at left tackle for Michigan. So he's got a little offensive lineman here protecting his guy. He's kind of a Declan Doyle. He doesn't call the plays. He did in the preseason to get a little seasoning, but he's a running game coordinator / offensive line type of guy. Didn't really have much of a NFL career, but did move around quite a bit. So he's protecting his guy. Got no problem with that. I love all the chatter. I have missed as a fan all the chatter about this rivalry. In the last couple of years, there hasn't been much because the Bears have been on the wrong side of that rivalry. Long gone is the decade dominance, mid-'80s through mid-'90s, where I think the Bears owned the Packers before Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers kind of took over and turned the tide. So maybe, just maybe, this puts the flower on tilt. And maybe Ben Johnson has gotten between his headphones, and maybe he'll make a mistake getting a little too aggressive trying to prove something on Sunday, and this may work in the Bears' advantage.
Maybe. Could.
We'll see.
Adam Stenavich also might be motivated by the fact that Ben Johnson has the job that he interviewed for last January. He was a Bears head coaching candidate. If you recall, he did the interview as Dustin rolls his eyes for some reason, but he did interview for the job that went to Ben Johnson, so I'm sure that will add to his own personal
Keep
motivation.
the Michigan and Packers stink up north. You can have it.
Well, okay.
You brought up Michigan.
Just the facts.
And his interview for the job is just as factual.
Also factual.
Thank you.
So what will be obvious by the end of the game, which will be obvious from the opening kickoff, is that Sunday, as we're beginning to learn, or maybe just confirm what we already suspected, Ben Johnson will be responsible for motivating two football teams. And we'll find out which one he does a better job of motivating, because the Packers clearly are using what he said on day one as the Bears head coach as fuel.
It's a really good question.
Voice of Ross Tucker. He was on the call of Cowboys-Lions right here on The Score last night from Westwood 1. He'll join you guys at 8 o'clock. How bizarre was Micah Parsons' pretzel logic regarding the Bears being disrespectful by turning up in Green Bay looking to mow his lawn or win the game?
Respect is something that's earned, and these people want to come here and they want to beat us in our house, and, we got to eventually go there. That's, if someone comes on your lawn, what would you say? So, it's that type of, it's a respect thing. Like, especially losing a couple games at home and the way we lost them in a fashion, like, I think we have to come together as a defense to get our respect back. And it starts this Sunday.
All right. What did you think? You just heard from David's guy, Micah Parsons.
Well, I think Micah Parsons clearly. I don't know why you're taking shots this morning, but that's fine. It's Friday.
You like
it's
Micah
great.
Parsons.
I do like Micah Parsons. He's probably one of the top 3 to 5 defensive players
How do you
in
look
the
at
NFL.
yourself in the mirror in the morning?
And he's a big reason why the Bears are going to struggle on Sunday to protect the passer, because he's a struggle for everybody. But I think that what we learned just by this comment and maybe following what he says on a regular basis, like he is on the defensive front, when he speaks, he is all over the place. All over the place. So that's okay, because you don't necessarily expect these guys to be consistent or even logical at times. But I think what this does speak to the larger issues, what we kind of addressed in the previous question. This Green Bay team, the theme all week at practice, in the locker room, in the meeting room, at the steakhouse, at the cheese curd line, whatever it is, they feel disrespected by the Chicago Bears. They feel like the Bears don't respect the team that has owned this rivalry, and they feel like that will be the mentality they take to the field, because by kickoff on Sunday, they will be mentally prepared and motivated. And I think this just speaks to how much they feel slighted by everything that has been said and done.
You are 100% right, David. It to me, I'm surprised that the Bears are in their heads like this with this whole disrespect thing. They're a 6.5-point favorite. I mean, how are they being disrespected? I don't get where it's coming from, unless it's going back to the opening press conference.
That's got to be everything.
But it's amazing.
The guy, they're probably mocking the way that Ben Johnson took off his shirt.
They probably are.
Notice me, notice me, notice me.
I would run the ball right at Micah Parsons. If I were letting Caleb adjust, if I'm Ben Johnson, I'm telling Caleb, okay, just like Coach Wanstead said, identify where zero's at. Okay, we've got a run play called, change it to right or left. Most of those run plays, they run them same. Sometimes they run to the right. Sometimes they start it right at them. And then do what the Bears do so well, like Kyle Monungai specifically, and then cut back, right? Cut back the opposite way, where he run at him and then cut the other way. And I think you would have success. That's what I would do. But I'm glad Mike is taking it seriously. And maybe, the other thing that might be motivating Micah Parsons, he was, and I have to admit it, and we haven't gotten together to talk about Micah Parsons, but he was really good on Turkey Day. I mean, that guy put on a show, and he might be miffed that he's not the NFC Player of the Month.
Yeah,
because he had a type of game on Thanksgiving that would earn you that type of an award.
See, the only problem I have with this question is the use of pretzel logic. There's not even pretzel logic involved in this. There is no logic. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. You're disrespected because they're showing up because they want to beat you. That doesn't make any sense. Everyone wants to beat you. Everyone, you're the best at what you do. People want to come after you. Why would that be disrespectful? That's called competition. That's called athletics. That's called sports. What is he on about? It's just, but I think you're saying exactly the truth. It is how great players have motivated themselves forever. It is, George Halas walking up to Dick Butkus and saying, wow, if that Flanagan said anything like that about me, I'd never get over it. And Butkus is like, what did he say? And Halas walks away, and then Butkus just his mind goes to 1,000 insults that never occurred, and he just calls timeout at the end of a game they're losing because he wants one more shot at that guy. That's the kind of thing that you do when you are playing NFL football. This is a real old school, I'm motivating myself by imagining you breaking into my home and you took my favorite lawnmower and now you're out there mowing my lawn. I'll mow my lawn. The whole thing is hysterically insane, but it's in keeping with some of the scariest traditions in the
Remember
NFL.
Dave Wanstead told us that he used to tell Sean Gale what guys were saying about him all week long, and he used to motivate that. This is the oldest trick in the book.
Absolutely.
It just so happens that the Bears head coach made this such a public thing on day one, so that it's something that
you can't regret, because it's something that you got to do, and the reality is you've got to set your sights on that team and beat it because they've been beating you.
No doubt.
So I got no problem with him saying any of the stuff he said. I got no problem with them being offended by it. And I hope it makes for a really good football game. I hope it adds. I hope that when a guy says stuff like that, you take it on the surface for what he's telling you, and you get just as psyched up to go and play him. But let's be honest about it. Like, when the game comes down to the end, when you need someone to lead you to your great field goal, they went out and they traded for a guy that can ruin that. No matter how good Caleb is in the clutch, no matter how things slow down, that guy doesn't slow down.
No.
That's the kind of closer. That's the kind of guy that can start sacking you at the end of the game when he hasn't done it all game long. And there's not a lot that you can do to
you talk
prevent
about
that.
a home run hitter.
He's a hell of a player.
Yeah.
But obviously Matt is a header in a good way.
There's a number of guys that you play in the league that you have to be aware of on every snap. He's one of those guys. Very talented player. He's slippery. He's a great pass rusher. They'll move him around. They do a great job in the defensive scheme of putting him in different positions, and it's simple to them, and yet it can create complex looks for us. And so the biggest thing is that you don't overlook anything. You don't ever overlook where he is on the field. You got to be aware of him at all times, and that's really the way the plan gets put together.
Was that disrespectful by Bears OC Declan Doyle?
Well, I don't find it disrespectful. I find it quite the opposite. But I think Micah Parsons might want to know, why are you calling me slippery? Who knows? No, it's not. It's exactly correct. You better identify this guy. He is one of the players in the league that you better know where he is at all moments, because he can ruin games for you. There are guys like that in the NFL. There are not, we saw one earlier in the year against the Raiders, and certainly there'll be one here in Chicago next week when you play Cleveland. There are just really good players in the NFL, and on that side of the ball, there are guys that can terrorize you as a quarterback, and you better know where they are and how you're going to block them and how you're going to prevent them from being involved in every play, and that's the key. Dustin, as you talk about running at him, you're not sure where he's going to be lined up. So you are going to have to be doing it in real time if you want to run a play toward him or at him. You want to make sure you have the right people blocking him. It's going to be a bit of a chess match. It should be fascinating to see how the Bears want to win this game and how they're going to deal with a player that can ruin your game for you. They got other players on that defense, but there's a reason they went out and got that guy and paid for him and all the rest of it, because he's a great player and he could really be an issue for you. And I would say that is about as high a respect as you can give a guy when you talk about you got to know where he is on every play. Exactly correct.
Everybody knows Micah Parsons is a big problem. And I think what Declan Doyle was probably trying to do was to make sure that he didn't disrespect the rest of the 10 other guys on the defense by just spending his 30-second answer, praising Mr. Zero.
This underscores everything that anyone's ever said about Micah Parsons. That is the sign of the ultimate respect. You want to know where he is before every snap because you can either run at him with your running game or run away from him with your passing approach. You don't want to take a chance by having, dare I say, a rookie like Ozzie Trapillo isolated one-on-one on 3rd and 7. That will be a mismatch nightmare. That will be how the game can turn. One play is all it takes. Micah Parsons is capable of changing the direction of a game with that one play. That's why when he was traded to the Packers, some of us went a little bit overboard and saw the potential for this team because of what else they had. He made a very good defense potentially great, and he does that on every snap. He doesn't seem to tire out. Now that he is in game shape, now that we are this deep into the season, you see the capability of him, whether it's the first drive or the last one, changing the game, dictating the outcome. This was the ultimate sign of respect from Declan Doyle, who knows what he's up against.